We should never allow the government to decide what is acceptable speech and what is unacceptable speech. We should penalize behaviors, not opinions, and not speech. If you start trying to regulate speech, you start trying to regulate thoughts, you start trying to regulate beliefs rather than behaviors, there's no way that you're not going to abridge the constitutional rights of millions of Americans.
يلا لغ بيطلعوا.
Rated PG-13.
هالحكي وهالحكي
هتطلع هتطلع هتطلع
قديش عمرك؟ 4 سنين 4 سنين.
I did a recent video and YouTube took it down because I brought up things that they don't approve of as communists and socialists. So when and if I get back on YouTube again, this video will be posted to bring up another interest that my mother died in January, and it's been now 4 months since she passed away. And this is more or less kind of like an inquiry of anybody that sees the video who could be maybe a medium, maybe you might be a psychic. I have seen things in the past 30 years since really the time that my father died. When he passed away, I had at least 3 different visions. I saw him and he communicated with me, and he brought up things, and there's videos on my channel of those experiences back from about 2006, 2005, and I'd say inquire or at least watch those so you'd have an understanding. But this is about my mother, because my mother had a unique ability, a psychic ability, that she could she could communicate with the people who had died. My aunt, my great aunt, had died in Ocala around 1986, maybe 1987, and my mother was planning to go down to see her. She was going to ride a bus, and anyway, my mother had relayed this to her children, my aunt's children, that she woke up in the middle of the night. It was like maybe 3 a.m. and my great aunt appeared to her at the foot of her bed, and she told my mother, she said, don't come to Ocala. And she said, I have passed on. I waited as long as I could for the one that I was waiting for. And she was talking about her son. Her son was on his way to see her. And this is what she said to my mother. She says, I'm in a holding place. So she said, don't come to Ocala. So as soon as she got up the next morning, she called at the hospital, I think, where she was being taken care of, and they said, yes, she died last night. And so mother didn't go. Now, that's just one experience. That's one experience, psychic experience she had. She had another experience. My grandfather died in 1993, and she had really no relationship with him. They had a falling out, and the only relative she went to their funeral was my grand uncle. That was his brother. Well, when my grandfather died, my mother was watching something on the television, probably a soap opera, and she said all of a sudden in the monitor, in the television screen itself, she said her father's picture appeared. And it was not like he communicated with her, it was just a visual impression of his face. So she knew at that moment he must have died. But when she started hearing from other relatives, stepbrother, stepsister, so forth, she didn't go to his funeral because she knew that they really had nothing more to do with each other, so she didn't. Now, the reason I bring these encounters and experiences up is because now that my mother has died, it's been 4 months, and my father communicated with me through psychic visions that I had in my dreams. He brought up some things that to this day I still can't understand how or what they relate to, but if my mother was psychic and she had all these supernatural abilities, why haven't I heard from her? I did see, and it was a vision today I had of my mother, and it did not look anything like the vision I had of my father. As a matter of fact, my father appeared in the vision with her, and they both did not look like what I would have thought. My mother was physically still the same way. She was the same age, maybe even a little older than when she passed away. I saw some interpretation or impressions in her face that she was a much younger person, because I had found a photograph of her when she graduated from university. She became a medical technologist, and I have that picture right now on one of my tables, so I can look at it. So there was some impressions of that picture of how she looked. So maybe you're going to say, nah, it was just your mind making an impression of what you saw or what you remember of her. But this is a couple of things I asked her in my vision. I said, Dad communicated with me after he died. Why haven't I heard from you? And I brought up the fact that with Dad's first contact, I got up one night and there was an electrical storm outside. Really bad electrical storm. And I was in the bathroom, and all of a sudden I heard Dad's voice here in the den, and he said to me, "Come in here." That freaked me out because I knew Dad had died. And I was like, "I'm going to bed, Dad." So I did not come in here. Now I regret it, because I would have liked to have seen, maybe if he's here, could I see his visual impression of his apparition? Could I have spoken to him more and asked questions? And this is what I asked my mother in my vision today. I said, "Mother, why can't I communicate with you? Why haven't I had the chance to speak to you?" I said to her, "Is it because there's been an electrical storm in the past couple of days here in Georgia?" And I said, "Well, why couldn't I talk to you then?" And she said, "Well, you're right. That's when we are able to communicate with our relatives or our friends or our loved ones, is through these electrical storms." But apparently that's as much as what she would even answer. And I got the impression she was saying, well, it just didn't work out because either you weren't up and I couldn't talk to you, or somehow. But that's true of what happened about my father. My father was in this room, and I was awake, and I was in the bathroom, going to the bathroom, and then I heard his voice. Now the reason I bring that up is because a lot of things happened during the time after my father died. That's why I was going to say, go back and watch that video. We had an old television. It was a Panasonic. And I'm telling you, for about a week or more, every time we go to bed, we turn the television off. And in the middle of the night, I would hear it on again. And I thought at first it was my mother. I thought, well, maybe she got back up and she couldn't sleep. So I would come in here, and there's nobody in the den. But the television was on. So I went back and I turned the TV off. Didn't come back on either. After I turned it off the second time, it didn't come back on, but it would do that every night. So the impression is that Dad was lonely, he couldn't do anything, so he turned the TV on. That's what I think happened. The only other thing, experience of the vision I want to share is that my mother was, just seemed like to me that she was kind of in between our reality and hers, because she was still here in the house. And I got the impression from seeing her that she can't move on, because she maybe thinks, just like I'm thinking, there's so much I've still got to do about her estate. I've got so much to do about selling some property, all kinds of stuff. And it's overwhelming. And that's why I wanted to ask her questions about what can I do or what should I do. Because see, this is all her money that we're talking about. This is all of her personal things that she wanted me to have. But my lawyer isn't helping me with a lot of this stuff. And so I was made the administrator, because it's sort of like he just dumped it on me to take care of everything. And my church has been so helpful. Been helpful in a lot of different things. They helped me with the funeral. They helped with trying to go through a lot of her stuff and things that she had. And now I'm just kind of befuddled at seeing how many things that she had the ability to do in her life, and now I'm not hearing from her. I can't seem to get any information. Can't get her to tell me anything of what she would want me to do with all this stuff. I believe in the Lord Jesus, and I know what he says in his word. He tells us, absent from the body, present with the Lord. But Dad was a Christian. Dad was saved, but yet he remained behind after he died. So I say, if he could remain behind because he didn't feel he could move on because he didn't know what was going to happen to Mother and me, then Mother has to have that same feeling. She can't move on because she doesn't know what's going to happen. Mother died of COVID. She had definite lung problems because she smoked for 40 years of her life. In the last month, she got so weak that she couldn't get out of bed. She couldn't move from room to room. I had to help her. But before that happened, she was very strong. She could walk around. She could do things. But she never went to a doctor. And so that last night before she died, I saw her heaving like this. But she never said to me, I want to go to the hospital. She never said or tried to get me to take her to the hospital. Sometimes she would ask me, try to get me one of those new COVID pills that they're coming out with. And I said, Mother, they're not going to give it to you because you don't see a doctor. You can't get it unless you go in and get one because you'll have to be seen by a doctor. She wouldn't go. So that's part of what happened. I do feel guilty because I heard her tapping on her bed that night. And I thought to myself, if I had just went back in there, I think what she was trying to say is, I can't breathe. Help me get to the hospital or something. But I just thought she was moving around in the bed or something. I really didn't think she was trying to call out, because she always did call out to me. She would always say, I need you, come in here, you know, and she didn't do that. And one morning I woke up and I remember that she was so thirsty. She was so thirsty. And she kept saying, Lord, please, let me get something to drink. So by that time I went in there and I checked on her. I said, okay, let me get you some water. So for her to say that then, and then that night she died, she didn't say nothing, means to me that she didn't want to go to a hospital because she didn't want to die there. She wanted to be here with me in the house. That's what I figured. And now with the vision I saw, I'm thinking her soul is still, maybe it's here like Dad's was, and that he eventually moved on. He went on to heaven, because the last time I saw Dad, it was like twilight. Very difficult to see anything but maybe his outline in the picture or where he was. And he just said, I've got to go now. I won't be able to see you anymore. And he just said to me, I'm so proud of your daughter. And I was like, Dad, I'm not married. I don't have kids or anything else. So I've still held on to that, thinking maybe sometime in my life I'm still maybe going to be able to have children or have a child. Honestly, I would love to have a son, but at this point in my life, I say, I think maybe Dad was just talking about some predestination event that he saw as he was moving beyond our realm of existence into his. Maybe he saw something. Maybe he was allowed to see something and he told me. But with Mother, I haven't heard anything except for that one vision that I had today. And maybe it's the beginning. Maybe I'll have other visions. I hope I do. Because I really want to ask her about what should I do with the stuff that she left for me. Because I don't know what to do with it. And the church is helping me, but boy, I'd love to hear Mother say it to me person to person. Her say, I want this to go there, or I want you to do with this, with that. And I'm sure some of y'all are going to say, she probably would just say, do whatever you want to with it. Well, maybe that's how you feel, but I say, Mother saved this money a long time. She earned that money. Nobody gave it to her. She earned every dime of money she had because she worked for 40 years as a medical technologist. She worked in hospitals in at least 3 different places, and she earned it and she saved it. Can't say that about a lot of people. Most people just kind of like wasted. They think it's mine, I live once, I use it. She never looked at life like that. She saved because she knew someday she'd need that money. So she saved it. So that's why I am exactly like my mother. I do not intend to waste anything that she gave me. I'm going to do exactly what that will said that I was supposed to do with it, and that's what I'm going to do. But I surely, truly wish I knew what to do with the money. I wish she could reach out to me and tell me what she wants done with the money. And I'm just praying that God is going to direct me, because I know He will. He says, cast all your care on me, for I care for you. That's what God says. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just leave it in His hands. And everybody at church says, trust God and get going. Meaning, you do the best you can and let Him direct you, because He will direct you. He says, you trust me, put it there, and that's it. I've been scared. I've been afraid. I've had panic attacks in the last 3 months since she died. And I'm still having those panic attacks. But no matter how I feel, I know God is in control of this, and I just leave it in His hands, and that's what I'm going to do. So let me say to all of you in closing, I thank you for watching this video. If YouTube removes me off the channel, I'm still on Vimeo. So watch my videos on Vimeo, because Vimeo does not restrict me from saying what I want to say. I've got the other video up on Vimeo right now. YouTube doesn't like you to say things that they don't approve of. Like, let's just say what just happened the last couple of years. Let's say things that the socialists don't want people to hear about, because they've got to keep you brainwashed. That's what it was about. So go to my other channel and look for it. You'll know. So thank you for watching this video today. Come back again if I'm still here, and watch my other videos, because you know, as long as the channel's up, they'll be there. But I'm never posting on CKO radio channel again. They've proven to me I have no freedom of speech, and I have no rights. And so the things that's still up there is all you'll ever have, unless you go to my other channels that I have on Vimeo. But this is the last videos I'll probably be able to post, because if they take this channel down for CNN rotating square, I'm not coming back again. This is their second chance. This is my last chance, because fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Because it means they didn't care in the first place. They don't want to care, because all they're caring about is themselves. Pacifying the New World Order, pacifying the new communist rhetoric that's out there. So, if y'all want to live that way and live under a communist dictatorship to a Nazism philosophy, that's up to you. But for me, I'm not participating. I'm never voting in this country again, because I know the whole system is corrupt, and I'm not going back. But you see, when you bring that stuff out, that's why YouTube takes you down, because they don't allow you to say that kind of stuff to other people. They don't want you to say that, because then they know it could hurt their chances to remain in power. That's what socialism and communism is. So thank you.
One, two, three, four. There's a square out there. Can you guess the square? Do you think that you can find it? You must be aware of the shape of a square if you really want to find it. So look with care for the shape of a square. Look all around. Can you find it? Okay, now let's look around for a square. Is the door shaped like a square? No, it's shaped like a rectangle. It has 2 long sides and 2 short sides. Now is the record shaped like a square? No, it's shaped like a circle. Now pick up the record cover. Run your fingers around the outside. 4 straight sides, each one just as long as the other. 4 corners, all the same size. Guess what? It's a square. Did you find it? There's a square out there. Can you get the square? Do you think that you can find it? You must be aware of the shape of a square if you really want to find it. So look with care for the shape of a square. Look all around. Can you find it? Did you find it? There's a square out there. Can you get the square? You think that you can find it? You must be aware of the shape of a square if you really want to find it. So look with care for the shape of a square. Look all around. Can you find it?
CBS presents this program in color.
عمران دقنيش
قديش عمرك؟
4 سنين.